Joining me now is Melanie Phillips, one of the great intellectuals and writers on modern conservatism and so much more. You can read her in the UK Times, or even better, subscribe directly to her blog, melaniephillips.substack.com. Great to see you, Melanie. How are you?
Hello again, Rowan. Very good. Hope you're well.
We're well. Thanks for coming on. Now, last week, Joe Biden called for unity. Unity is a cure for all the ills inflicting America. The ills, by the way, that the Democrats were largely responsible for introducing. But anyway, just have a quick listen. Here's Joe Biden.
And I ask every American to join me in this cause. Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things.
Melanie, you were deeply unimpressed. Tell us why.
Yes, well, I wrote on my blog that, in fact, the measures he then took within a few hours of this speech, calling for unity and an end to injustice, racism and lawlessness, the measures he took introduce injustice, racism and lawlessness over a whole slew of executive orders. And excuse me, weren't we supposed to think that President Trump was a kind of neo-fascist for ruling by executive order? And so suddenly, President Biden signs whatever it was, a dozen or so, 15, I've forgotten how many, executive orders within a few minutes of assuming office, and suddenly it's back to normal. Well, back to normal, according to the orders he issued that afternoon, involved the trashing of the rule of law and the concept of citizenship, basically telling people that federal immigration law is to be undermined by giving citizenship to some 11 million illegal immigrants, halting deportations for 100 days and so on, and a slew of other measures, all to produce what's called racial equity, which is actually racial inequity, because it's predicated on the idea that everybody in America who is white and everybody in the West who is white is therefore intrinsically racist, and America is intrinsically racist, and white people are intrinsically racist. So under his regime, employees are to be ordered to undergo deprogramming training in which they are forced to recite mantras denouncing themselves and all white people as racist, and in which we will see a number of measures which are actively discriminating against white people, which to my way of thinking is racist. I mean, whatever happened to Martin Luther King's great dream of judging people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character? I'm afraid that President Biden's program is all about reversing that and judging white society by the color of its skin. And consequently, far from repairing America's terrible divisions, he is introducing an administration committed to widening and deepening those divisions in the most dangerous and unjust and really morally reprehensible way.
I agree with you, Melanie, and the irony is that the UK Telegraph reported yesterday that far-left demonstrations are still going on in Joe Biden's America. So they're still out there demonstrating. It's insane. Are you surprised?
No, I mean, the Vice President, Kamala Harris, in her previous incarnation, when she was a humble senator, called for and instituted a campaign to support the demonstrators, to provide money to fund them. The Democratic Party has never condemned Black Lives Matter. On the contrary, it's hitched its wagon to that most evil star on the basis that it's an anti-racist movement. It's not. It is a racist, anti-white movement, anti-West, anti-Jew, anti-white people. And it's this terrible Orwellian distortion that the left in general has gone in for and the Democratic Party has now signed up to, which views anti-white racism as anti-racism. It's not. And we now have the kind of turning facts and evidence and truth inside out, which I'm afraid we associate with totalitarian regimes under the Soviet Union. This is the way you change a society by revolutionary means, by basically seizing control of people's minds, or that's what you try to do. And the idea this is all being done under the American Constitution, which is committed to, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, is even more troubling. I mean, what price the Constitution if you can have such a wholesale assault on life and liberty? And the destruction of the happiness of anybody whose views don't conform with your own.
Absolutely. Now, Melanie, that was terrific. We've only got 30 seconds left, but just vaccines happening here now. The vaccines are coming out here. Israel has vaccinated pretty much everybody. You've had the vaccine. Tell us briefly, just 20 seconds, what has happened in Israel and why it's been so successful.
Yes, I am in Israel. I've had 2 vaccinations. They're on course to vaccinate the entire population by the end of March. It's been done because Israel has a society which is programmed to save life in a crisis. Unfortunately, we're still in a lockdown, which is being continued probably because of the mutant variant of the virus. And because elements of the Israeli population won't adhere to the rules. Tell us about this. We've heard this before many times.
Melanie Phillips, thanks so much. Always fantastic to chat to you. Well, thank you so much.